If you're like me and you're at the grindstone each day and haven't really got 2 hours to sit around watching POE2 interviews and have the attention span of an ant, and just maybe you're Australian like me, well, I might have you covered with this type of video. Welcome to my new series, 5 Minutes or Less. I actually wrote a script for this series to stop me from saying the word so let's stop mucking around and get straight into this video and start talking about POE2 news. For today, creator Wudijo interviewed Johnothan from GGG around POE2 and what we can expect. This is what we learnt. So, beta launch and early access, they anticipate to have a little less content than POE 1 in the endgame initially. Though it will have maps, it will have some mechanics present, and during this time, Johnothan advised that GGG would be porting POE 1 content to POE 2 during the beta period in anticipation for release. As far as the end of the beta early access, large amount of endgame content is planned to be released on the final release of POE 2. Now, Pinnacle bosses will be in the game at release for POE 2. As far as post-launch content, they're making sure that league content extends to the endgame. So that means that when a league plays out in a 3-month cycle, they're anticipating that that league will have an impact from the very start of when you start to play that game, as in POE 1 right now, through to the end game with some form of significant impact at the end game. Now, for full launch, possibly 6 months from the beta is when they estimate full launch of POE 2 to come out from the beta date, but that's not yet defined. And the beta will transition to a full release with no gap in time. So there'll be no gap between when they close the beta to when the full game comes out. They'll transition straight into the full game. For leagues and expansions, the first league is not fully determined yet, just depends. That's basically what Johnothan said. League release model will be the same as POE 1, so 3 to 4 month cycles. One major expansion is planned for each year for POE 2, ideally the December League. There will be no more base classes added to the game further down the track, maybe more ascendancies, and at this stage the Scion class will not be returning to the game. In relation to trade and economy, the auction house trading won't work for absolutely everything. It's focused on instant buyouts with gold used as essentially a tax. The old player-to-player trade system will be in effect. That will have no gold cost at this stage based on what we know. The trade website will still be in place for POE 2, the same as it is in place for POE 1. Trading for currency will have a cheap gold cost. Currency trading will be an in-game trading feature. That's the methodology they're going on. As far as quality of life, gold is to have auto pickup. They're not keen on auto stashing. They're not keen on auto pickup. POE 2 will have more defined drop rates, so less drop frequency, so no big booms on the screen, similar to what we're seeing in the 3.23 league. Inventory space will be the same as POE 1. No one-slot items, and there's no in-game loot filters to be added to the game like last epoch. In relation to crafting, there's more focus on crafting on the go. Ideally, Chaos Orbs are going to become a lot more valuable and a lot more meaningful, considering they've been significantly changed moving forwards. There's also going to be a limiting on the crafting system scopes as well, which, for example, beast crafts will only work on body armors, is essentially what they outlined in the interview. There's a push for players to access different content with specific crafting systems, as opposed to one crafting system fits all, so that players play different things in the game. This will drastically improve low-end crafting, and high-end crafting shouldn't be affected by the changes. There'll still be a high-end crafting scene for POE 2. Map crafting will be significantly impacted by the Chaos Orb changes, and a crafting bench in some form will still be in the game. Currency ideally is preferred to not be spammed moving forwards. As far as builds and balance, there'll be no more complication to making POE 2 builds versus POE 1. One-button builds may still be viable, but just less efficient. Spirit will, which is a new stat being added to the game, will allow for more automation, but that's going to be at a compromise of damage lost. And monster power is expected to be a lot more extreme in POE 2 than in POE 1. Essentially, the methodology is power equals wealth equals power, which is the approach that they want people to take for builds moving forwards. And there's no real answers to power creep at this stage. Now, I think I did pretty well considering a 2-hour video down into about 5 minutes and 5 seconds, including an introduction. So we're going to keep up with this series and see how we go. Now, if you want to check out the full video and you've got 2 hours to burn, I'll put a link to the original interview in the description below. And I'll also put a link to another creator, which is only just, and his videos are really good. It's Sliver XYZ. He's also done a summary video as well. So check it out. He's got a lot more thoughts and input from his side of things. This video is more just like hammer to the point for anyone who doesn't have patience. I'm your guy. Anyway, until next time, don't forget to like and sub to the channel. Don't forget to follow the Twitch, and I'll see you guys later.